So Carney's been on kind of a sales pitch to convince Indigenous groups to get on board with this idea. Last month, he met in Ottawa with First Nations. Last week, he was in the Northwest Territories and met with Inuit groups. And now today, meeting with Métis groups here in Ottawa. But the problem is that even before this event began, there was dissension. The Manitoba Métis Federation, which is kind of the dominant main Métis group in Canada, doesn't recognize the Métis National Council and the Métis Nation of Ontario, really because over issues about sort of validation of someone's Indigenous Métis heritage. The MFF doesn't believe that the MNO, the Ontario group, does that properly, and actually says that the way they operate amounts to Indigenous identity fraud. So there's no love lost between those groups. And so the Manitoba group is actually just boycotting this event altogether. So that's a bad start for it right off the bat. But let's talk about what Carney is trying to do. He's trying to convince Indigenous groups that these big projects are going to be in their interest, economically too, because they will stand to benefit from these projects. There's going to be consultations, he says, on each one of these projects on a case-by-case basis to ensure they get buy-in and sign-off from the Indigenous group, the relevant Indigenous groups whose territory may be affected by this. So we're talking about things like, pipelines, new rail lines in some cases, port facilities, some electricity interties. So there are lots and lots of groups across the country. Carney is convinced this is the way the Canadian economy can wean itself off its dependence with the United States, because it'll allow us to get more of our products that we produce in Canada to foreign markets, including in Asia, including in Europe. And he wants to have these projects approved at the federal level within 2 years. But if there's pushback from Indigenous groups, that could tie up these things much, much longer. There could be court challenges. So he needs to get them all on side with every one of these projects that moves ahead. Otherwise, they will just kind of grind to a halt and may ultimately never actually get approved. But as I say, not a great start for this by not having the Manitoba group here. That is a real problem. So Carney is going to have to figure out a way around this. And it's a little surprising to me that the Carney government decided to go ahead with this meeting without possibly anticipating that this could be an issue. This is not a big secret that there is beef between these different organizations, and the fact that they sort of invited them all en masse, he didn't really expect this was going to happen, that the Manitoba group was going to essentially boycott this event.